Hi and welcome. This is the webinar of your board mate, which is me and my colleagues. Simple isn't easy, the 10-minute test that reveals why good businesses fail. It was advertised as 5 minutes, but I've run it through and it's 10 minutes anyway. I'm Andrew Wright, and before we start, let me ask you something. Do you think your business or organisation is basically running okay? Maybe not perfect, but okay. Or is it a bit like being on a runaway train that's laying down tracks in front of it just before they run out? Well, here's the thing. I can identify what your biggest business vulnerability might be in 10 minutes, and I'll do that live right now in this webinar. But here's what really matters. Once you see these vulnerabilities and once they become visible, you're going to have a moment where you think, well, that's simple, I can just fix that. And that's where a lot of businesses fall over, because simple isn't the same as easy. Today I'm going to show you the difference and why it matters for your business. Now, I see way too often, unfortunately, good businesses, good people, working hard and slowly going backwards because they're not doing the simple things. Not the complicated things, the simple things. They don't know who can do what if someone leaves. They don't have clear decision-making processes documented. They don't track their compliance requirements properly. They don't have succession plans for key roles in place. They don't know how decisions actually get made. They can't have honest conversations about relationships. And they don't actually understand where their finances are at. Now, all of these alone are problems. Together, they can be a huge problem. Every single one of these is simple to understand. In fact, a newbie could grasp most of these concepts, but businesses fail because simple is not the same as easy. Lots of consultants won't tell you this. One, because they want to sell you easy solutions. Download this template, follow this 5-step process, and you're done. The second thing they will do is they'll tell you they understand your job, but most of them haven't actually done your job. Most of them have not done the job of a CEO, if you're a CEO in particular, or sat on a board in a senior position. So let's have a look at two pictures. Picture one. It's Tuesday morning. Your key person, the one who knows everything, sends a text resignation. Effective immediately, family emergency, they're relocating interstate. And you're sitting there, you don't know the bank passwords, they're there somewhere, you don't know which suppliers to use, you can't find the insurance documents. Critical decisions were made 3 months ago and nobody documented what was decided or why. Nobody really knows your financial position because that person handled it all. Within a week, you're in crisis mode. Within a month, you're hemorrhaging money, clients as well. Within 3 months, well, who knows, you may not survive. Now, I've seen this happen. Not fun. Picture two, same Tuesday morning, same text resignation. You open your business, you get out your systems folder, everything's documented, 2 people have bank access, your decision-making process is clear, your successions plans kick in, multiple people understand the financial position and exactly where things are at. Within a week, the new person is operational. Within 3 months, you've improved processes because some of the information you've had to re-examine, you've had an opportunity to improve. Same crisis, 2 completely different outcomes. The difference, picture 2 did the simple things, but they did the hard work to make those simple things actually work for them. Let's just give a bit of background on me. I've been turnaround CEO of 2 organisations, both borderline insolvent when I started. At our community, I helped to write and deliver governance qualifications that many other consultants out there, particularly in the not-for-profit sector, are using to run their own consultancies. I've got an MBA. That took 4 years of coursework. I'm on the R expertise pool, which is the foundation for rural and regional renewal, plus I've been a CEO 3 other times. But here's what really qualifies me. I've personally sat in rooms when everything's falling apart. I've had to tell staff we may not survive, and that's no fun at all. I've dealt with board members who weren't speaking with each other, and sometimes not with me, and I've faced situations where we didn't know basic operational information because the person who knew it had quit or was off on long-term sickness. I've had to navigate toxic relationships and have those difficult conversations, finances, and juggling a whole lot of other balls at the same time. The tools I'm about to show you today, the 10-minute assessment, aren't from textbooks. They're from real situations that I've found myself in where businesses have survived based on whether they've done these simple things or not. Here's what we'll be covering in the next few minutes. First of all is the 10-minute vulnerability test. I'm going to walk you through a live assessment, as I said in the intro. Part 2, why simple isn't the same as easy, and the real reasons why businesses don't implement simple solutions. Part 3, the implementation reality, how to actually make things work in your business, simple things work simply. And part 4, your next steps, some options that you can take, practical actions that you can do starting today or tomorrow. Let's get into it. Before I do start, I want to go to a familiar place, which is organisational information, and there's 3 forms of that, and most of you probably would understand this quite fully, but it's worth reinforcing because it relates here. First of all is the known knowns. That's stuff that we do know, and we do know that we do know it. We know our bank balance, we know our key customers, we know our products, and this is comfortable territory. Circle 2 outside of that, the known unknowns. These are things that you know you don't know. You probably should have better financial reporting, you probably should have better documentation. You know you need some succession planning, you're aware of these gaps. The dangerous one that we're going to focus in or hone in on today is the unknowns, and this is the dangerous, risky territory. These are the vulnerabilities that are completely invisible to you until it hits the fan, until crisis hits. Let me tell you about an organisation that I salvaged. The CEO had been there 10 years, a bit more than 10 years. Everyone thought operations were fine. The CEO thought operations were fine. It looked a little bit like this. I'm in there and doing some consulting. I'm reviewing systems, and I ask, okay, who's got access to the bank accounts if the CEO is unavailable? Silence. Who knows the insurance renewal process? Crickets, more silence. Who can authorise emergency spending if there's a crisis on the weekend? They literally didn't know. The CEO had been handling everything for so long that nobody, including the CEO, realised how dependent they'd become on one person's knowledge. Now, just before I continue on that could be anyone in that organisational chart. It might be this person here, and they will have a similar impact on so many people around them. This wasn't stupidity or negligence. This was a pretty good CEO, but it was a slow, gradual drift into dangerous dependency that was completely invisible to everyone. The 10-minute vulnerability test I'm going to show you is designed to make Category 3 more visible to you, to get you to see what you don't know, and then hopefully you'll be able to do something with it. Let's flip across to the assessment. This is the assessment here, and I'm going to run through some questions. So I'm going to use an example of professional services firm. They've been operating for 15 years, 12 staff, profitable, solid reputation, good revenue, and the owner thinks everything's running really well. Watch how quickly the picture changes when we ask some simple questions. So there's 7 time bombs. The first time bomb is the knowledge economy up here. First question, who processes payroll? Well, that's Sarah. She handles all of that. Okay. Who else knows how to run payroll if Sarah's not here? Well, no one really does. No one really needs to know. That's red flag 1 that we've already marked there. Question 3, who manages key client relationships? Well, Sarah handles most of that. Okay, and the client invoicing. Red flag 2, you can see the vulnerability already here with Sarah. Who handles compliance paperwork? Okay, well, that's Sarah. She does that too. She does an amazing job. We'd be absolutely lost without her. And there's red flag 3. Let's go to time bomb 2, which is the policy vacuum. Next question, question 5. Do you have a documented financial approval process? Well, not really. Finance just brings stuff to me when it's important. Another red flag. What about emergency procedures? If something goes wrong 9 p.m. Saturday, what's the process? Well, I think someone would ring me. There's another red flag. Question 7. How do new staff learn quality standards? Well, we all know what good work looks like. I'm going to call that an amber. Time bomb 3, let's get on to that one. Decision-making processes. How are decisions actually made? Question 8. Major purchases over $10,000. What's the approval process? Oh, I approve them when I'm available. Otherwise, Sarah or someone in finance will use their judgment. Another red flag, not good enough. Question 9. Can you show me your last 3 strategic decisions and how they were approved? Well, I'd have to look. I'm not sure where we documented that one, but that's another red flag. What about question 10? Who has spending authority when you're away? Well, it depends on who's around and what it's for. Red flag. What about time bomb 4, succession planning, where a lot of businesses get themselves into trouble? Succession blind list. What happens if key people leave? What happens if Sarah turns in her notice tomorrow? Well, we're in big trouble. We'd have to hire someone and that could take forever. Another red flag. How long to train a replacement? Honestly, months. Another red flag. They're not ready for any of this stuff. Question 13, what about if you got hit by a bus tomorrow? Who runs the business? Oh, that's unlikely to happen. I'm only 52. I'm pretty fit. I think I'll be okay. Another red flag. That's the blindness. That's red flag 11. Let's go on to time bomb 5, remembering that there are 7 time bombs here. Who manages legal requirements? Who tracks compliance when things are due? Oh, well, that's finance and Sarah again. And she reminds me when I need to do things. Red flag 12. Question 15, where's the evidence of compliance stored? Well, it's in the finance. I think Sarah's got access to that and she'll tell me if I need to. This is getting ridiculous. Red flag 13. Question 6, what about if finance, particularly Sarah, are sick for a month? Well, we might miss something. There's another red flag, and that's number 14. Let's keep going. People problems, the root of lots of organisational stuff, because at the end of the day, organisation's about people, and leading people, managing people is probably the most critical thing you can do. Let's have a look at the first one. Question 17, can people disagree openly in meetings, or do they stay quiet and complain later? Well, there's some tension. People are careful what they say in front of you-know-who, since she's got access to everything and she's been here and knows everything. Okay? Red flag 15. Can you have difficult conversations without drama? To be honest, we avoid certain topics because, you just can't go there sometimes. Red flag 16. Question 19. Do people work collaboratively or in solo? Most people sort of work solo. We have meetings every week, but people don't really need to share their information that much. We get by. Okay, there's a red flag. Again, what happens if someone leaves? That's number 17. Just from that one, the people problem, what you're probably seeing there is that the controlling behaviour of particularly one person in one area is creating a knowledge monopoly, is preventing documentation, and is blocking effective succession planning. Big problem. Last time bomb, financial blindness. Do you know your actual financial position? Question 20, do you get financial monthly reports beyond bank balances? Yes, well, I do. Sarah or someone in finance gives them to me when I ask for them. Red flag 18. Question 21, can you explain what your current ratio is at the moment? Yeah, okay, I'll just have to check on that one. And there's red flag 19. What about cash flow? Do you have a cash flow projection for the next 3 to 6 months? Do you know where you're sitting in terms of cash? Well, not formally. Sarah keeps track of what's coming in and out. Another red flag. That's number 20. And last but not least, who reviews financial reports and asks the hard questions? Well, I trust the finance area, to flag issues when they're needed. 21 red flags. There it is. In a business where on the surface things are going pretty well. Profitable, happy, good people, good reputation, making money. But they're really completely dependent on one person and one department, and that one person could leave tomorrow. And her controlling behaviours presenting problems, preventing systems that would protect the business if they are in place. The pattern there is the people problem Sarah's control catalyses most, if not all, of the time bombs. The knowledge monopoly exists because Sarah won't share. Nothing's documented because she doesn't want transparency. No succession planning because she's made herself irreplaceable, and financial blindness because she's the only one who really knows the numbers. This is what I've found in my turnaround gigs as CEO. Good businesses with invisible time bombs. Sometimes things are visible, the known knowns, back to where we were before, but the unknown unknowns are the ones that are going to bite you. And usually it's relationship problems at the core of it all. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, okay, that's simple to fix. We just need to document stuff, cross-train people, and address the relationships. Exactly, it is simple. But it's not easy, and that's what we're talking about today. Let's look at a couple of examples here and how business can fail to implement simple solutions. This is a compliance calendar, and on this one, the current month is March. We've highlighted that, and we've got things checked over here, and we've got months up there, 15 months there, a year and a quarter. The compliance activity description down here, and this section is governance, company secretarial and legal, and you'll see ACNC, annual returns lodged, all of those compliance things, and there's about 5 other sections there: people, WHS, finances, customers, all that sort of stuff. This is great, and this works really well. But there's a problem with this because it's a simple concept, but it takes a lot of work to get the thing going, which is why it doesn't happen a lot of the time. You create the calendar, you're motivated. This is going to solve it. We're laughing now. We're really happy. Week 2, you realise you don't actually know what all the compliance requirements are. You need to research state and federal requirements, industry requirements, your specific legal structure requirements. Week 3, different people in your business have different pieces of information. Getting it all in place requires chasing people, checking documents, finding passwords. Week 4, you discover some requirements are overdue. Now you're dealing with penalties whilst trying to implement the system that would have prevented them. Week 5, someone didn't update the calendar when they completed a task, and now you're not sure if the calendar is accurate at all. Simple concept. Track compliance on a calendar, not easy. Actual implementation and maintaining it requires sustained effort, coordination and discipline. Let's have a look at another one. Let's have a look at the relationship thing. You decide you are going to have the difficult conversation. You've identified that someone like Sarah is controlling information, blocking documentation, preventing succession planning. Let's have the conversation. Problem is she's been there 14 years. You rely on her. She's going to be defensive, possibly angry, and she might quit. You're not sure you can survive that. And other staff, of course, are watching to see what you do, how you go, and will you really address the issue. Challenge 2, the follow-through. Changing entrenched behaviour takes months, and this is where it gets really difficult. You've got to set boundaries. You've got to be consistent in those boundaries. Sarah, in this case, will probably test those boundaries. She's got enough on her plate She doesn't need you getting in the way, and other staff need to see accountability as well. Challenge 3, the backup. So what happens? You have the conversation, Sarah quits. You need systems in place, which means documenting her knowledge before the conversation, which she might resist, which brings you back to challenge number 1. Simple concept again. Address the toxic dynamic. Not easy, requires courage, preparation, sustained follow-through, and a willingness to lose someone rather than compromise your business's future. All this while knowing that the rest of your staff and probably a few other people are looking over your shoulder to see how you're going. And this is why many people never address people problems, because it is really hard. Let's have a look at another demonstration. Finances. Here's a simple financial dashboard. Again, this is a sample. The dashboard this is taken from is about 5 pages, probably good to do in an Excel. You need proper financial oversight, regular reports, budget monitoring, cash flow projections. You need to be able to put your fingers on it really quickly. Simple concept, but actually implementing means getting the information, setting up the reporting systems, accounting software configuration, training whoever's creating reports, establishing reporting schedules, defining what goes in this template, understanding the information, learning financial literacy if you don't have it, like what's a current ratio, knowing what questions to ask, spotting concerning trends, and taking appropriate action when something's going wrong. We need to break that control pattern. If one person controls all the financial information, breaking that requires difficult conversations, and then we're back to that earlier slide, aren't we? Multiple people need access and understanding. Regular reviews become non-negotiable. Someone has to ask the hard questions, and you can't ask the hard questions if you are in a knowledge vacuum. Simple to understand, not easy, requires systems learning, discipline, and sometimes difficult conversations about control and transparency. Here's the issue across all of these. First of all, the concept, simple enough to explain in 30 seconds. The implementation, weeks or months of sustained and coordinated effort. 2, a template or framework that anyone can understand, the compliance. Implementation requires discipline, coordination, accountability, and follow through. 3, just do this thing, just do it. This is how you do it. The implementation, changes to habits, changes to systems, changes to culture, and changes to ways of working. And the last one, have the honest conversation. And the implementation of that is navigating relationships, conflict, setting and holding boundaries, and accepting consequences. And this is why so many businesses do fall over, and eventually some of them fail, not because they don't understand what to do. They understand perfectly. They fail because they underestimate what it takes to actually do it. So that's, I guess, simple means the same as easy. This will be easy. I'll set this up, and it takes months and months of hard work to actually get it in place, especially the people dynamics part. So they give up or half implement, which is sometimes worse than not implementing at all. Let's have a look quickly at what we've covered. The 10-minute assessment reveals invisible vulnerabilities, the unknown unknowns in your business. That simple is not the same as easy. And we've had lots of examples of why that might be. We uncovered, in fact, so many red flags in that assessment that could have been addressed with some simple work and some time and effort. Third one, people problems often catalyse other time bombs. And the last one is most people know what they need to do, but implementation is the challenge, and it's often the biggest barrier in relationship dynamics that nobody wants to address. What happens next is up to you. Some will take today's assessment, the assessment I've just run through with all of the questions, and start implementing. And that's fantastic, because that's exactly what you should do if you've got the time and the discipline. Others are thinking, I know what I need to do, but I need help actually doing it without trial and error waste, and especially the difficult conversations, and they're never easy for anybody. And that's where your boardmate comes in. Website has been launched this week, and I'll give you links to that, and there's a whole lot of information in there and some options and a couple of freebies, of course. But with your boardmate, there's essentially 3 steps you can take if you want to get involved. First of all, we've got a bunch of governance and operational policies and strategic policies that are available, plus some guiding documents and frameworks. 3 levels of that are available for you to purchase and download and customize the templates yourself. The second is we've got a really great, I think, and quite innovative do-it-yourself with expert guidance. So you're implementing systems and you need someone who's actually done this before to guide you through the roadblocks. For example, here's what works and here's what doesn't, and here's how to adapt this template. With that, you get a number of questions you can put to me and the team per month, and you get frameworks and basic policies and guidance documents and meeting frameworks and those sorts of things to help you get set up. And there's 2 levels of that, 67 a month for 3 months minimum and 127 a month for 3 months minimum. Now, if you think of what you're going to potentially pay a consultant or get someone in to do a project, that's really good value. And the third one is done with you. So you need hands-on help because there's an issue, an urgent issue or a major issue, or you're doing a major system overhaul. These are the solution packages where I'll work with you directly on implementation. And most people watching this are going to be path 1 or 2. Part 3 over here is more the direct face-to-face sort of consultant thing. The templates, there's 3 levels of that, and I've just got path number 1 here, which is the 347 purchase. You get 15 essential governance and operational policies, professionally written and tested, up to date with Australian requirements for businesses and not-for-profits, implementation guides included and ready to adapt to your business. This is best for businesses with time and discipline to implement properly. You just need quality templates as your starting point. The next level is the premium governance policy toolkit, which is $697. Everything in basic, plus things like a board secretary training guide, which is really comprehensive, steps you through the whole thing, a strategic planning and writing framework based on who you are, what you do, and why you do it, and some complete succession planning systems, 30 days email support and 12 months updates. And then the final one is $997, which is the complete governance and policy system overhaul, everything in premium, plus additional policies, implementation roadmaps with priorities, advanced stakeholder tools, financial management templates, and 60 days of email and phone support. These give you the professional foundation. You customize them and implement them yourself. Perfect if you've got internal capacity and just need the right starting frameworks. There we go. Okay, that gives you an overview. Next thing you want to do is to get a hold of the 10-minute assessment to make your vulnerabilities visible. That's downloadable off the website, and for anyone who's participating or looking in after the session, you'll get that email to you. Then get some templates or expert guidance if you feel that you and your business are in that position to choose your implementation path. And thirdly, to take action this week before you get snowed under again. And I've talked to many people over the years. Yes, I really want to do that, and I'll get to it when I'm not busy. And of course, more stuff comes through the in-tray, and the busier and busier we get. Whether you're interested in toolkits, monthly advisory, or just exploring, the starting point is the assessment, deciding which way you want to go with that, and we can take it from there. Now, I've seen good businesses fail because they didn't do things properly, and they didn't do the simple things properly and put the work in to get those simple things going. Not because the owners were incompetent, but because implementation is generally hard, and they were doing it alone through trial and error. Now your board mate can give you a brand new, experienced, hands-on level of support if that's what you think you need. We've covered a lot today. So let's have a look at key takeaways and then we'll wind things up. First of all, you've probably got invisible vulnerabilities that you don't know about. The assessment, the 10-minute assessment makes them visible, including relationship dynamics, and where you go with that visibility is up to you, and you've got some options on that now. Takeaway 2, simple is not the same as easy. Understanding what to do and actually implementing are completely different things. Takeaway 3, people problems often catalyze other time bombs, address the relationship dynamics, and the other issues become more easily solvable. Takeaway 4, you've got options. Do it yourself with professional templates, ongoing expertise, or hands-on implementation support. And takeaway 5, prevention is cheaper than crisis management always. As I said earlier, minimum action, do that 10-minute assessment, go to the website, download the free intake template or information template where you can fill that out. That'll take you about 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Shoot it back to us and we will give you a response. We'll look at it and we'll give you some initial support. And if you want further support from that, we'll give you some recommendations on where to go. Here's the website. That's live now. You can email at admin@businessunbuzzed. Please link up with me on LinkedIn. There it is, Andrew Wright, Leader Learning, and get the assessment tool, the free assessment tool at the assessment tab on the website. That's it. That's a whole lot of years of experience in leadership and running businesses and running organisations. In a nutshell, as I said, your board mate website under businessunbuzzed.com is there. Go and have a look and please be in contact one way or another, either through the email or through LinkedIn. And if you need some help or need some assistance or need some thoughts or ideas, please get the information or intake template, fill that in and lodge that back to us and we'll be in contact. Thanks for being here and looking honestly at your own business and finding out, I guess, some uncomfortable truths about things you might not know, but also on a positive that you might have ticked off some of those and said, gee, we're on top of a lot of that, and that's fantastic. Remember, simple isn't easy, but it's worth doing properly, especially the hard conversations. I'm Andrew Wright from your board mate, businessunbuzzed.com. Thank you. Hey, I thought I'd better show you the free intake template from our website that I mentioned earlier and look at what it does. The idea is you go to the website, download the template and fill it in, print it in MS Print or Mac equivalent. All the instructions are on the template. Fill out your details and outline the particular problem or issue or challenge that you have. Whether you're interested in toolkits, monthly advisory, or just exploring, the starting point is the same. Complete that intake template at the link, send it back to me by email. We'll then review it, have a look at what you've submitted, and give you some specific feedback on options you can implement, including your board mate engagement. Either way, you'll get some really useful feedback. So let's have a quick look at the template and I'll just talk you through. You download this, it's a fillable Word. Instructions here on the first couple of pages. Then let's get to understand your situation. What's the challenge you're facing? Personal, organisational, leadership, mixed, your details, your role and position, a bit about your organisation, the type, the sector where you are, legal structure, numbers, staffing, turnover, board if applicable. What are your main challenges? Business, personal, organisation, or governance. If you say that it's a crisis or urgent, then obviously you need to do something more quickly. What's your most important issue? How experienced would you say you are in dealing with this challenge? Have you tried to solve this issue before and what happened? The relationship or personality challenges, decision making, what type of help are you looking for? How would you prefer to get your guidance? What makes your situation more challenging? Any particular constraints, or if you're in remote Australia without many resources around you, those things can impact on a potential solution and sometimes be a barrier to actually doing anything. What would a successful outcome look like for you? Really important question. What do you want? Are you seeking assistance by yourself or on behalf of others? Now, that's not a probing personal question. It's just to try and help us with context. Is there anything else we should know to help you provide the best guidance? How urgent is the issue? Any additional comments that will help you? You fill in your details, send it back to us, and we will give you some feedback within 48 hours. Some of you will complete it. You'll get feedback from us and decide you're right to handle things yourself, and that's absolutely fine. Others will complete it and say, I think I need a bit of help, maybe a toolkit or ongoing advisory, and that's fine as well. Either way, I'll respond to your assessment with actual guidance that you can use specific to your situation. And really, it's as simple as that. And it's free, and you get feedback for your issue, whatever it is. Give it a try. So that's all. That's the intake template for your board mate. Thanks for watching. I'm Andrew Wright.